JB, biggest turnaround in the NFL has taken place right here in South Florida. The Miami Dolphins hosting the Oakland Raiders. And welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Solomon Wilcots. What a difference a year makes. Last year, Miami, laughingstock in the National Football League. This year, they're in the playoff hunt. New management team, new coach, and a new quarterback. Chad Pennington has been even better than what the Miami Dolphins could have anticipated.
Well, he certainly has put his stamp on this football team. I think he's provided tremendous amount of leadership and has been an excellent model for professionalism.
And we sat down with the quarterback of the Dolphins and asked him what kind of impact does he? Raiders are struggling right now, and that's nothing new. It's been going on for quite some time. Some actual good news to report, though, for Oakland, and it's on the injury front. They get back Darren McFadden today. He's missed the last 3 games with a turf toe injury. McFadden, explosive, brings that dynamic to the table, and Jamarcus Russell returns. He was out last week with the knee injury. Russell will get the start under center today. Why the struggles, though, Solomon? Why does it continue?
I can give you 3 reasons why. How about the change in philosophy at the topic has arrested the development of the team as well as their quarterback. And we've now seen a change in play callers for the 3rd consecutive time. Tom Capel will call the plays today, and I think that has set back Jamarcus Russell. And then the player purge. Gone is D'Angelo Hall, and I think it has weakened the morale of the team. Players are now wondering who's next.
Last week, defensively, they played well enough to win against Carolina. They limited the Panthers to just 72 passing yards. They picked off Jake Delhomme 4 times, allowed only 17 points, but still nothing to show for that fine performance. Time right now for today's Home Depot Tools to Victory.
Well, I think one of the tools the Raiders have to use is running back Michael Bush. He has to contribute on 3rd down and turn those short passes into long gains. Patrick Cobb for the Miami Dolphins, well, he's been the unsung productive spark for the Dolphins offense. When it comes to the game points, I think the Raiders, they have to use a physical run game, defend against the Dolphins' Wildcat offense. As for Miami, they've got to start fast and finish strong, and then they've got to get pressure on the quarterback with Joey Porter.
And for more Home Depot player stats, log on to CBSSports.com. Miami Dolphins. Week 11 of the NFL on CBS brings us to Dolphin Stadium, where today the Oakland Raiders meet the Miami Dolphins. 29th all-time meeting between these 2 teams. And today's game is brought to you in high definition by Sony. High definition, it's in Sony's DNA. We'll have the opening kick when we come back. Raiders and Dolphins next. Tom Capel has a lot on his plate right now. He's the interim head coach. He is calling the plays for Oakland, and he is still the offensive line coach. Tony Sperano, former offensive lineman himself, in his first year as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And this team has certainly bought in to his philosophies and the philosophies of one Bill Parcells. Miami won the toss. They deferred, so Oakland will get the ball. Dan Carpenter will kick it off. And the deep man is Justin Miller. Just picked up off of waivers from the New York Jets. And Miller will return it from the goal line. Here's Miller looking for a lane. Miller across the 30. Stays on his feet and spun down at the 40-yard line. So when the Jets signed Ty Law earlier this week, Justin Miller was let go, and the Raiders jumped all over it. You know, Al Davis loves speed. Jamarcus Russell last week had to sit out against Carolina. Bruised right knee, tendonitis as well. We spoke with Jamarcus yesterday. He said he's good to go and feeling ready for this matchup.
He wanted it to be strong enough where he can push off and drive the ball down the field. It's a windy day. He's going to need to be able to drive the ball.
Good field position to start, but a poor way to begin with a penalty marker down.
False start offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Ed Hockley, our referee. Cooper Carlisle called on the false start. And the Raiders hoping that is not a sign of things to come. They had 10 penalties last week in the loss to Carolina. 259 yards of offense and produced 6 points.
As a play caller, you don't want to start the game 1-15.
And that's where they're at from the 35. On a handoff, Justin Fargas running up the middle and not much there. Aiken Adell, first man to get there. A 2-yard gain for Fargas, who burned the Miami Dolphins for 179 yards on the ground last year. Injury, Jake Grove is out with a calf injury, so John Wade steps in to replace him. Backs and receivers, many changes at wide receiver. Jawan Walker is done for the year with an ankle injury, so Ashley Lalee gets the start along with Chaz Schillens, and that man, Darren McFadden, has his helmet on, and he is available for Tom Cable. And they've needed him. Russell off the play fake. Luke Lawton. And brought down to the 35 once again by Adell. Jeremiah Bell on a safety blitz, providing the heat. A loss of 2 on the play. Let's take a look at this Miami defensive unit. There's been improvement here. Vonnie Holliday has been such a rock for them on the defensive line. Ferguson and Langford each having terrific seasons as well. Linebackers, well, we know Joey Porter is having the year of his life. 12 sacks for Porter. And in the secondary, Jeremiah Bell missed all of 2007 with a ruptured Achilles. What an addition he's been to this defense, his leadership on that back line here in 08. McFadden is in there, out of the gun. Russell on a dump off. They want McFadden out in space. And can't break free. Will Allen sliding in to limit McFadden to a 2-yard gain, and the Raiders go 3 and out.
On a 3rd down and 15, you expect the Miami Dolphins to maybe blitz Jamarcus Russell, but they were smart that time. They only rushed 3, dropping 8 into coverage. All they wanted to do was allow the short completion, swarm, and make the tackles. Exactly what the Dolphins were able to accomplish on that play.
Shane Leckler is on. He punted 11 times last week, averaged over 50 yards per kick. Devon Bess is the deep man. He'll backpedal and bring it in cleanly at the 13-yard line. Bess makes his move up the field. And tripped up just shy of the 30-yard line with a flag down. Looked like Bess had a chance to maybe break that one. Marquise Cooper in on the stop. 50-yard punt, 16-yard return. We'll see what the penalty marker
During
is.
the punt, holding by the receiving team number 56. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. 10 yards, Miami keeps the ball. First down.
And that's backup linebacker Charlie Anderson called on the hold. So the Miami Dolphins offense takes the field, and Chad Pennington, passer rating of 94.6 over the last 6 games. Sore foot, that was the latest information we got. Nothing more along the lines of injuries. It must have happened yesterday at practice, because there was no talk of that foot throughout the week.
I spent time with Chad Pennington on Friday. Didn't notice a limp. He appeared to be just fine. Was in great spirits. Then when we talked with him yesterday, I think we saw him with the same kind of attitude, positive and upbeat, and really feeling good about where his football team is headed.
Ricky Williams lines up in the backfield on a 1st and 10. And the Dolphins open up at their own 8-yard line on a toss for Williams. Makes a cut, and Williams spins his way. Nnamdi Asamoah, first man there. It's going to go down as a loss of 2 on the play. Offensively for the Miami Dolphins, Jake Long, #1 pick overall, and Long has made a very smooth transition to the NFL on that left side, guarding Chad Pennington's blind side. Backs and receivers, Ted Ginn. The light is beginning to turn on for Ginn and his explosive abilities down the field.
Oh, he is certainly a playmaker, can be one for Dan Henning, the offense coordinator, looking to get the ball, I think, more to Ted Ginn Jr. and take advantage of his speed.
On a 2nd and 12 now for the Dolphins, and movement there. Flags come down. They'll run the play to Ronnie Brown, but it's whistled dead. Kalimba Edwards, number 58, jumped on that right side of Oakland. Was he lured into it by Jake Long?
Well, if you're going to jump, you might as well go ahead and keep going and make the play in the end zone. He jumped, but then he stopped when he could have really made the play.
Tony Sperano looking on. Ed Hockley taking his time with this call. And they are discussing it just outside the Dolphins half huddle. And fans getting antsy.
Yeah, I'm sure they're thinking why there's so much to talk
Offside
about.
defense. Number 58, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty.
It looked pretty cut and dry with Kalimba Edwards, the 7-year pro, former Detroit Lion, called on the offside. So
on the first play of the offense for the Raiders and for the defense, we've had movement on the offensive line where they've drawn a penalty.
So they'll place the football at the 10. Now a 2nd and 7 for the Dolphins. Ronnie Brown in the backfield. Motion man is Camarillo. On 2nd down for Pennington. In the pocket, pumps, and a short throw is incomplete. Lou Polite, the fullback, now in his 4th year out of Pittsburgh, former Cowboy, former Bear. Sam Williams there defensively, and it sets up 3rd and 7. Let's take a look at the Oakland defense. No Derek Burgess once again out with that tricep injury, so Burgess missing his 6th straight game. Edwards steps in to replace him. Linebackers, this is a good group, including Thomas Howard, one of the fastest linebackers in the National Football League. And in the secondary, we know about Asamoah having a Pro Bowl season. Chris Johnson has stepped in the spot formerly held by D'Angelo Hall, who was released and is now a member of the Washington Redskins. Movement again on 3rd and 7. And the play whistle dead. This time on the other side, Trevor Scott tried to get a beat on it. Big number 91.
Neutral zone fraction defense.
Wow.
5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
And it appears we have a short in Ed Hockley's mic.
Well, we have a short right now in the Oakland Raiders and their ability to execute. I mean, these are unforced errors, and you're putting yourself, behind the 8 ball early in the game. And I think Tom Capel, when we talked to him, said, hey, we've got to get off to a good start. We've got to fight to stay in the game. You can't give the Dolphins anything, and you need better execution and focus from the Oakland Raiders.
Game just started. Raiders have 3 penalties already. 2 on the defensive side. Play fake on 3rd and short. Pennington out of the pocket. Pennington's going to run for the 1st down. Sliding as he crossed the 20-yard line, and enough to keep this drive going. A 7-yard run for Chad Pennington.
Excellent job by the offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. And watch how they get the protection. Look at Jake Long doing a really good job against Kalimba Edwards. They collapse the other side. They pin in Trevor Scott, the other defensive end. It creates a tremendous window and room for Chad Pennington, who doesn't normally run. He's used to picking up 1st down with his arm. That time he was able to escape and move the chains with his legs.
Place the football at the 22. This drive continues for Miami. Fake the toss, and it's Patrick Cobbs. Cobbs breaking tackles. 1st down. That's a 12-yard rip for the 3rd-year pro out of North Texas. Just his 5th carry of the season. AFC East standings, Miami very much in the playoff picture at 5-4. A victory would bring them into a 2nd-place tie with the New England Patriots after the Jets knocked off the Pats on Thursday night in Foxborough.
And Miami has already beaten the Patriots this year, so even though their record would be identical, they would have a half-game lead on the Patriots in 2nd place inside their division.
Latuna, Executive VP of Football Operations, Bill Parcells looking on. Williams trying to string it to the outside and leans forward for a gain of 3, crossing the 35. Jay Richardson over there defensively for Oakland.
We talked with Coach Tony Sperano. We said, hey, what has been one of the common themes during this 3-game win streak that you've been on? He says, hey, we've been able to finish games. And, yeah, they've started really well, but the way they played in the 4th quarter with the leadership of Chad Pennington, this team is, I think, playing very well in just about all cylinders. Now he's trying to get the problem areas fixed in special teams. That's the one area that's been lagging behind.
And mostly on coverage.
Yes.
They're happy with Ginn and the development, but on coverage, subpar. Pennington throwing on a double tight end set, and it's David Martin who is buried at the 42-yard line. 5.5-yard pickup. Chris Johnson will be given credit for the stop for the Raiders.
I think the one area of this football team that I think has improved the most has to be their offensive line. They're doing a wonderful job of providing protection for Chad Pennington, but they're really productive in the run game as well. Yeah, everyone talks about the Wildcat offense, but I think as of late, even in their base package, this offensive line has played well. And so all the other members, whether it's Ronnie Brown, Ricky Williams, we mentioned Ted Ginn Jr., all of the other guys are also able to be more productive.
And Patrick Hobbs, one of those players, is in there right now on a 3rd and 1. Pennington on the short pop, and it's Cobbs turning the corner for the first down. The pride of Tecumseh, Oklahoma, out of the University of North Texas, member of the Mean Green. Another product of that program, our friend and former colleague Beasley Reese.
That's right.
Beasley is a good man.
And when we told Patrick Cobb, he says, yeah, I know that. He knows about Beasley. Look at Chad Pennington. He's done a wonderful job through their first 9 games. Talk about turning this team around. Look at what they did last year at the quarterback position, and now what Chad is able to provide. A quarterback rating above 90% tells you he's playing winning football.
On first down from the 49, play action. Pennington in the pocket will throw it on a short throw. Ronnie Brown turning it up the field. He's got a first down into Oakland territory at the 40. Methodical drive here for the Dolphins, and that catch and run covers 11 yards.
Now the 8th play of the drive, 4 runs in this, the 4th pass play of the drive. So perfect balance in the play calling for Dan Henning. Has this Oakland Raider defense off balance, but more importantly, the offensive line taking control of the game early. This drive started inside of their 5-yard line. So right now, Miami Dolphins off to that fast start they wanted to get off to.
And this offense has been dynamic. Dan Henning, he's been doing this a long time, 26 years in the NFL. And some trickery. Ted Ginn finds a running lane. And Ginn hurdling his way out across the 15. Still on his feet. Ted Ginn takes it the distance. Touchdown, Dolphins. He breaks 3 tackles.
Chad Pennington told us when we mentioned Ted Ginn Jr., he says, I see a hunger there. I think we see it on this reverse play. Now, he's not a big guy, but watch it. He refused to be tackled by the Oakland Raider defense. You mentioned the tackles he broke on that play. That was the hunger and the desire he showed and the willingness to fight to get into the end zone.
And the first rushing touchdown of Ted Ginn's young career, 2nd year from Ohio State. Dan Carpenter tacks on the extra point. The Dolphins, what a drive to open up. 6:52 to go in the first. And it's Ginn taking it all the way for the score. A 40-yard touchdown run for Ted Ginn. 9 plays, 93 yards. 5 minutes and 51 seconds off the clock. The Dolphins with a 7-0 lead over Oakland.
Really good play calling from Dan Henning, the offense coordinator by the Miami Dolphins. Kept that defense for the Raiders off balance. A good mix of run and pass. And then on the 9th and final play of the drive, they go with the reverse play to Ted Ginn Jr. And boy, did he take it to the house, showing that burst speed and explosiveness that his coaching staff wanted to see from him.
Dan Carpenter kicks it off. Justin Miller went to the Pro Bowl as a return man just 2 years ago. And here's Miller. Hole opens up, and Miller barreling his way out across the 30-yard line as Ronaldo Hill met him head on after the 30-yard return. Jamarcus Russell and the Raiders offense back on the field trying to bounce back after this dynamic Ted Ginn 40-yard touchdown run.
Only on the Now Network.
On first down, Russell throwing a bullet to Ronald Curry. And that's an 11-yard pickup and a first down for the Oakland Raiders. You know that Jamarcus Russell has a gun. Nobody has ever questioned the arm strength. When we talked to Tom Cable about how can you help Russell, he said 2 things. 1, we have to protect him. We have to do a better job. And 2, we've got to allow him to use that arm. Take some shots down the field.
And he said that's what they're planning to do today. But they first of all have to protect. You've got to keep Joey Porter off the quarterback.
Out of the gun, they hand it off to Justin Farkas. He runs into a crowd for a gain of 2. Randy Starks among those there for Miami.
I'm going to show you that touchdown by Ted Ginn Jr. Watch the players on the defensive end of the line of scrimmage. They have to protect from the reverse play coming back to their side. But watch how they go for the run fake. They collapse down inside. Once the ball gets to the outside, this is going to get to the secondary. have one missed tackle at the line of scrimmage. From there, the speed of Ted Ginn Jr. takes it to the house. So poorly played on the defensive perimeter for the Oakland Raiders.
On a 2nd and 8 from the 44, Russell back to throw. Pocket holds up and slings for a first down into Miami territory. He hits Ronald Curry again. Curry's been a forgotten man. He's been inactive, in fact. He was in the coach's doghouse, and he's trying to work his way back in after a number of drops earlier in the season.
You're right. His inability to consistently catch the football has opened the door for others to get opportunities without Javon Walker. Now Ronald Curry gets a second chance. I think early in his career had been a consistent catcher of the ball, and somehow it got away from him. Maybe the speed on that ball coming from Jamarcus Russell taking some time to adjust to it.
Walker out for the year with a left ankle injury. Russell in the pocket. There's the deep ball. Looping one down, middle of the field. Off the ricochet. It's incomplete. Curry, the intended receiver. Will Allen drawing the coverage back there. He got a little bit of help. And a long incompletion for Oakland.
Excellent play by Will Allen, because they do get behind the safety, Ronaldo Hill. This ball is well thrown. Now you got to go up and fight for it at its highest point. Give Will Allen the credit, because he beats Ronald Curry to the ball going over his shoulder. Watch how he goes up at its highest point. It's the guy with the best vertical jump and ability to time that jump who's going to make a play on the ball. I think the win goes to Will Allen.
And Miami will use a timeout. 7-0 Dolphins leading the Raiders. First quarter action continues on CBS. Ted Ginn's first career rushing touchdown has given the Miami Dolphins a 7-0 lead with 4:50 to go in this first quarter. Fargas and Lawton in the backfield here for Oakland, facing a 2nd and 10 from the Miami 47. Handoff to Fargas, and he tries that left side. Not much there to work with. Jason Ferguson over to make the play. A 1-yard gain for Fargas. Well, Oakland in the first half this season, Solomon, 1 touchdown.
Wow. And they haven't scored a touchdown in the last 9 quarters of play. In fact, they've only scored 2 touchdowns in the 5 games since Tom Capel has become the head coach. And he said, we have to get back to being who we are. We asked him, well, who are you? He said, we got to be able to run the football. I think the talent on this offense is in that backfield with Fargas, McFadden, and Bush. They've got to be able to run the ball.
Dime package here for Miami. Allen and Culver come in. Penalty marker thrown as Russell is dumped by Will Allen. Oh, they sent everybody on the blitz, and it was too much for the Raiders' offensive line to handle.
Personal foul, face mask, offense. The running back on blocking. That penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
And Oakland will punt again.
And now they had the tight end, Tony Stewart. Watch, he's going to try to block Will Allen. Allen dips right around. Goes right around Stewart, who's in the backfield, as extra protection for Jamarcus Russell. That's why you put the tight end back there, but playing way too high, allowing Will Allen to dip underneath and get the speed rush and come away with a sack.
So the corner blitz pays off for Miami. 4th down for the Raiders. Shane Leckler will punt, and Devon Best standing at his own 11-yard line to return it. High sailing kick. And Best is going to catch this one. He must believe he can get past the 20, and he's right. Flag down as he crossed the 25-yard line. Devon Best, they like his upside. Rookie from Hawaii, signed as a free agent. 53-yard punt and a 23-yard return. Injury on the play as well. John Alston, backup linebacker, is on the ground for Oakland. Penalties so far, 3 against Oakland, 1 against Miami. Make it 4. Miami Dolphins above 500 for the first time since the end of the 2005 season. Looking to improve their record to 6-4. They've got a 7-0 edge on the Oakland Raiders. 3:42 to play in the first. And Dolphins take over after the penalty. 1st and 10 at their own 9-yard line. Motion man is Camarillo. Brown in the backfield. He'll get the carry. And he is dumped. Kirk Morrison read it well. And you saw a number of black jerseys range over to that area. It's a loss of 2 or 3, depending upon where they spot it.
And if the Raiders just play with some poise and patience at the line of scrimmage, you saw that time, I think they were able to cave in that offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. Kirk Morrison taking advantage of it. He shot the gap and made the tackle on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
So it sets up 2nd and 12 now for Miami. We are yet to see the Wildcat here in this first quarter. Last week in the win over Seattle, they used it 8 times. On a handoff, Ronnie Brown again wrestled down as he comes up short of the 10-yard line. Morrison involved for Oakland. It's a 2-yard gain for Brown. And last try for the Dolphins. Well, they made it look fairly easy.
Yeah, Chad Pennington making a heads-up play there on 3rd down, and it's a good mixture of run and pass, excellent balance, dumping it off, and then how about the creative play calling of Dan Henning to go with the reverse to Ted Ginn Jr. as he runs it in for a touchdown. So yeah, they made that last drive look easy even when they didn't have good field position. Didn't have great field position on this drive. Now they're facing a 3rd and 10.
Rashad Baker on as an extra defensive back for Oakland. Play clock winding down. 3rd and long, Pennington. In the pocket, Pennington. There was a phantom sack that was developing. Pennington actually had more time than he thought. He started to cover up, and it was almost like slow motion as Tommy Kelly was over there to touch him up. Gerard Warren supplying pressure as well.
Watch the pressure. It's going to come from the outside, but it's going to be a huge cavity opening up here. He could have stepped through the line of scrimmage and bought himself a little more time, or maybe even taken off. But all you got to do is step up right there and see, but he tucks his head and decides rather to protect the football. That's why they're the best in the league at not turning it over.
The punt from Brandon Fields, return from Johnny Lee Higgins. Can't turn the corner. Reggie Torbor getting down the field in a hurry. Now the Raiders get the football back after the 57-yard punt. Dolphins have the lead, 7-0. Another reason for optimism for Miami. They have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. Their remaining opponents are 25 and 40 as the Raiders take over from the 40-yard line. And Justin Fargas brings it to the line of scrimmage, wrapped up by Jason Ferguson. They might give him a loss of a half-yard on that play. The communication has been a huge key for this offense, Solomon.
Yeah, Chad Pennington, look at him. He's coaching them up. When you talk to Tony Sperano, he said Chad Pennington will be a coach someday. He has individual meetings during the week, at least twice a week, with his wide receivers and with his offensive line to go over protection. Boy, he's doing a really wonderful job showing leadership for this offense.
We've asked him about coaching. He said, maybe high school. I couldn't coach these guys.
I think he'd be a great coach.
Justin Fargas. Good spin by Fargas. Got extra yardage using his body to the 45 and a 5-yard pickup for Fargas. It'll bring up 3rd down for the Raiders and 6. Time for an NFL Today update. First of the day, JB in New York.
On Giants touchdown drive, Brandon Jacobs 5 carries for 52 yards, including that 1-yarder for the touchdown. You know the Ravens have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 28 straight games. Giants on top late in the first, 7-0. Ian and Solomon.
Now, JB, that was the question going in. Could the Giants run on Baltimore? And at least the early answer is yes.
Now, that would be very interesting. Consider how good that Ravens run defense is.
3rd and 6. Russell can't break free. Thought there was some running room in front of him for a first down, but Vonnie Holliday, the veteran in his 11th year, will get credit for the sack. Now 2.5 on the season, and the Dolphins defense limits the Raiders 3 and out.
Well, when you talk about this Dolphins defense, it's an improved defense, and Tony Sperano mentioned Vonnie Holliday, Jason Ferguson as well, as Jamarcus Russell goes down, and they're going to take a look at that leg. He's had problems with that knee injury.
Russell clearly limping off to the sideline. We are done in the first quarter in South Florida. Shane Leckler on the punt. First play of this second quarter. Miami leading Oakland 7-0. Devon Best standing at his own 10-yard line for the Dolphins. And booming kick by Leckler, ranging over to his right. Best hauls it in at the 12-yard line. That's where the Dolphins will take over after the 43-yard kick. Aerial coverage of today's game is provided by the fine folks over at DirecTV. So concerns right now for the Oakland Raiders and their quarterback, Jamarcus Russell, on the training table. They are looking at the right leg. And Marcus Tuiasosopo is warming up along the sideline. The 6-year veteran was with the Raiders, spent 1 year with the Jets last year, now in his second stint with Oakland. And Russell will get off the training table and See if he can put some pressure on that knee. Meanwhile, Miami takes over a 1st and 10 at the 12. We are just underway in the second quarter here at Dolphin Stadium. Long count for Pennington. Fake the handoff. Pennington throwing. Underneath route. And Ted Ginn turning it upfield out across the 20-yard line and very close to a first down. It's a 9-yard gain. Talked about the easiest remaining schedule. Miami Dolphins, if they can take care of business here, move to 6-4. Second place tie with New England. And we know right now, Solomon, AFC teams are looking in the mirror and saying, why not us?
Everyone is believing that they have a shot. And, you know, Tony Sparano has kept his team focused by saying, hey, don't eat the cheese. don't take the bait. Just focus on what's in front of you. So Tony Sparano's not looking at those games coming up on the schedule.
On 2nd and 1, handoff. Ronnie Brown, shake and bake move. And Brown finally brought down as he crossed the 40-yard line. It was Jabril Wilson who took a whiff. Good block by Lou Polite. That's a 21-yard run for Brown.
Every week it's a different running back who's making plays for this Miami Dolphins team. We've seen Ronnie Brown have his days against the Patriots. Last week it was Ricky Williams, went over 100 yards rushing. Patrick Cobb lit up the Houston Texans a few weeks ago, and today it could be Ronnie Brown. I think he was the guy that really concerned head coach Tom Capel for the Raiders the most. Felt like he was the guy that really got this offense going.
On a quick count, and the Raiders were ready. Sam Williams bringing down Brown. And you're right, Tom Capel pointed out to Ronnie Brown and said that's a special player. He said that's the guy that really makes their offense go. You have to have defensive packages set up specifically to deal with him.
Sort of the straw that stirs the drink a little bit. You remember the year that Ronnie Brown was having last year before that knee injury. He was having an exceptional season, and we've seen moments of that so far here in 2008.
Yep, torn ACL last year, placed on injured reserve. On a give, Ricky Williams. And Williams unable to get to that second level. Chris Johnson over there, a 3-yard gain for Williams. Number 2 all-time on the Dolphins rushing list behind Larry Zonka.
Oh, this Miami backfield, we talked about it at the top. 3 running backs that can bring it. 10 total touchdowns for Ronnie Brown. And boy, he can put up the numbers. Ricky Williams, he's exceptional, averaging 4 yards per carry. And then the all-around ability of Patrick Cobb. You know, Cobb's even told us, he said, you know, I have to put in the dirty work. Once I showed him I could do that, Dan Henne started putting in special plays for me in the offense.
On a 3rd and 10, Cobb says, I'm not going to lie, when the playbook comes out on Wednesday, I'm checking for my name. I'm excited. Pennington throwing. A perfect pass to Ted Ginn. On a looping throw to the 35. And a new set of downs for the Dolphins to work with. 23-yard hookup. They're in Oakland territory.
Watch him coming in from the left side of your screen. You don't need arm strength. You just need perfect ball placement from Chad Pennington. Just the play action fake. And see, you lure up the linebackers, drop it right over their heads, but in front of the safeties where you only had to throw it to one guy. And Ted Ginn Jr. went right over the middle of the defense, caught it in a swarm of defenders for the Oakland Raiders.
And our first look at the Wildcat with Ronnie Brown taking the direct snap. Brown on a give, Ricky Williams, and tackled violently. It's a 4-yard gain as Williams was able to break through that line. Thomas Howard over there for Oakland as we get an NFL Today update with JB.
I felt that hit back here. Hey, the Bears have won 4 straight in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers trying to change that, hooking up with Greg Jennings, 8 plays, 73 yards. It is 7-0 in Green Bay in the second. Ian and Solomon.
All right, JB, thanks very much. Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears, one of the great rivalries of all time. Brown again. And Brown, the direct snap, loses the ball. Ronnie Brown had it poked out. Chris Johnson ripped it out. And the recovery to Jabril Wilson. Miami turns it over.
Something rarely seen here with the Miami Dolphins. Only 7 turnovers coming into today's game, the best in the NFL. But look, the second effort by Ronnie Brown, forget to put the ball away. I think it's Chris Johnson who stripped it away, number 37, able to get that ball out. But only on the second effort by Ronnie Brown does he not protect the ball with 2 hands. That's when it's most exposed. Chris Johnson making the alert play. Once he gets a hand in there, you got to rake and try to pry that ball loose.
That's 7 turnovers that you talked about, the lowest total that Miami has ever had in team history through 9 games. They turn it over here in the second quarter. Raiders take over, and it's Marcus Tuiasosopo stepping in for Jamarcus Russell with a flag down.
False start, offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
I think he said 74, Cornell Green. This is how the Raiders opened up the game.
Well, they need much better play from the offensive line. There is no doubt. Their head coach, Tom Capel, talked about it. But, you know, Tuiasosopo in for Jamarcus Russell. I think what you do have with Marcus Tuiasosopo is you have a much more mobile quarterback. And the way this offensive line's been playing in front of them, they're leaking constantly. And I think you need maybe a more mobile quarterback who can extend the play.
On a handoff. No handoff. Tuiasosopo can't hold on to the ball. Wow. Raiders able to recover it. So they avoid the disaster deep in their own territory.
Now remember, he was the number 3 quarterback a week ago. And here you see he tries to fake the handoff so he doesn't handle the ball particularly well. It's the quarterback's job to secure the ball as you fake that handoff to Darren McFadden. You got to secure it with 2 hands. Cannot put the ball in jeopardy.
Cornell Green on the recovery. Andrew Walter is the 3rd QB today. He was the starter last week, but he's out with a sprained right ankle. He suffered it against Carolina. It is 2nd and 28. This time he is able to make the handoff, and McFadden bulldozing his way across the 15-yard line. It's an 8-yard gain for Darren McFadden. Explosive talent, and he's back after a 3-game absence. Got another explosive talent, JB in New York with an update.
Hey, Ian and Solomon, the Ravens have allowed only 1 rushing touchdown all season. This is Brandon Jacobs' 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. Wow, and the Ravens have allowed only 65 rushing yards per game. 70 so far they've allowed. 13-0 Giants, who missed the point after. Ian and Solomon.
We've seen a lot of the Ravens this season, JB, and nobody, and I mean nobody, has run on them. The Giants making a statement. Justin Fargas met by Ronaldo Hill. Tony Sperano, when we asked him what's been the biggest difference defensively since the early weeks, he said that man. The presence of Ronaldo Hill has changed that secondary. The communication is better. His veteran ability has calmed things down along with Jeremiah Bell.
He also mentioned, you know, he's a physical player. I think we saw in that tackle play right there. But his intelligence and ability to get everyone lined up, they've given up those big pass plays that we've seen in the earlier mark of the season.
Shane Leckler lets this one rip. Ted Ginn will take it himself. Devon Bess had faked on an end around on the return, and the Dolphins will get it back. John Kondo, the snapper, makes the play. Dolphins turn it over, but then their defense stops Oakland. Stadium will play host to the Super Bowl in 2010. Home of the Miami Dolphins, the Florida Marlins, the Miami Hurricanes, and the Orange Bowl. Super Bowl, of course, will be here on CBS. Ronnie Brown in the Wildcat. Pennington set up as a receiver. Handoff. Ricky Williams, and the Raiders were all over it. Flag is thrown. Kalimba Edwards was prepared on the interior.
Is he that fast off the line of scrimmage?
Offside, defense, number 21. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
Well, they got Nnamdi Asomugha.
Negating what was a tremendous play from Kalimba Edwards.
So 1st and 5, 2nd most penalties in the NFL for Tom Cable's group. They had 10 last week, 5 so far today. And back to the conventional look now for Miami on offense. Williams and Polite in the backfield. Pennington, play fake. Steps up in the pocket. Oh, Pennington got knocked down. He took a shot. Kalimba Edwards was there. Jay Richardson was there. Jabril Wilson was there. A lot of black jerseys able to collapse that pocket.
Watch Kalimba Edwards. I think that's where the pressure is. It starts there, forcing him, Chad Pennington, to step up into the pocket. They're getting a push from that other side, but it starts with the pressure off the right side, and that's what forces Pennington to step up, and they come away with the sack.
Tommy Kelly also delivered a blow on Pennington. So back it up to the 35-yard line. Now a 2nd and 11. They'll give Wilson the sack, former New York Giant. Signed a 6-year, $39 million deal with the Raiders, known as a physical safety. And won a Super Bowl ring last year for the Big Blue. Fake the handoff. Pennington set up the screen for Ricky Williams. Thomas Howard just rode him down to the ground. Williams is fast. Howard is fast. It's a loss of 6 on the play. And coming up, it's the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cower at the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Sprint halftime report. Solomon, you and I had a chance to sit down with Thomas Howard yesterday, and he talked about the defense feels like they've got to play at such a high level to keep this team in games. They did that last week.
Well, you saw on the speed by Thomas Howard. I thought it was exceptional, and he's talked about it. He says, hey, we've got to fight to stay in the game. Allow Shane Leckler, our punter, to set the field position, then offense has to make a play.
3rd and 16, and Ronnie Brown is banged down as he crossed the 35-yard line, but well short of a first down. Howard again involved along with Gerard Warren. It's an 8-yard gain, and this Raiders defense has come to play after a slow start. That long drive from Miami opening up the day, but since then, we haven't seen much from the Dolphins offense.
You know, we always talk about the talent that the Oakland Raiders have. I think Thomas Howard is one of those players that when you watch him play, I mean, he just stands out at you. And Nnamdi Asomugha, another exceptional player, where they need that kind of explosive playmaking on offense.
Johnny Lee Higgins off the punt from Brandon Fields, and Higgins able to pick up only 6 yards up the field. 48-yard punt. We step aside here in the second quarter. Who's coming on to be the quarterback for the Raiders? We'll find out.
Is FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack, stroke, and certain kinds of heart surgeries if you have several common risk factors or heart disease. Lipitor has been extensively studied with over 16 years of research. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you are taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. This may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect.
I learned the hard way, but you may be able to do something.
Have a heart-to-heart with your doctor about your risk and about Lipitor.
Many half-ton V8s get around the same miles per gallon, but ours puts out 30 more horsepower. Hello, beautiful. Available on the full-size Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Takes just 3 years for many half-tons to burn through this much tranny fluid. Ours lasts longer, so you go through a whole lot less. Looks like you got some time to kill. Available on the full-size Tundra, the truck that's changing it all.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lipitor. Circuit City. We'll hook you up with our one price promise. Weber store, same low price. And by Toyota. Moving forward.
On first down, Justin Fargas gets the carry for Oakland. Jamarcus Russell is back in there. 7-yard gain for Fargas. It was the right ankle for Russell. We saw Marcus Tuiasosopo for one series. And if Russell isn't even 100%, which he's not because of the knee and the ankle, they still need him out there.
Yeah, I mean, 80% of Jamarcus Russell is better than 100% of the other quarterbacks that they have. They need Jamarcus Russell to lead this team.
2nd and 3. And Fargas falling forward, short of a first down. Matt Roth there along with Will Allen. No gain on the play. Oakland so far, they've got 4 possessions, 4 punts, 18 total yards for the Raiders.
Well, this offense has been anemic. It was just a couple of weeks ago, 0 touchdowns, only 3 first downs in that game against Atlanta. After that game, Tom Capel begin to call the plays. Offense coordinator Greg Knapp being relieved of those duties, trying to just provide some kind of spark and a different approach for this offense.
On a 3rd and 3, Russell sells the fake, steps up, throwing the deep ball into double coverage, and it's incomplete. Flag comes down. Ashley Lallee, the intended target, with Bell and Allen back there.
Now you might wonder, could he have caught the ball? I thought Ashley Lallee could track the ball. He was cut off while he was en route to the ball. And I expected to maybe see some separation because we know Ashley Lallee can run.
Pass interference, defense number 32. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
And that's Jason Allen, former first-round pick in 2006 from Tennessee.
Now watch as he's running down the right side of the screen. Now, does he jump in front of him and cut him off? It's actually number 37. Jeremiah Bell. See, that's the cutoff play that prevented Ashley Lallee from running and tracking the football.
It's a 41-yard penalty. It's double their yardage for the day. Justin Fargas is spun down. And no gain. Matt Roth over there defensively for the Dolphins. 4:28 and ticking left in this first half. Fargas with 15 yards on the ground had the 179-yard explosion in a victory over the Dolphins last year.
We told you the Raiders were going to take some shots down the field today. I think they got to continue to take those shots because it will slow down the pass rush. I mean, let's face it, you've got to be able to push this defense led by their coordinator Paul Pasqualoni, force them to defend every blade of grass and utilize the talents of Jamarcus Russell.
Timeout Oakland with 4:01 left to play in the second quarter. Miami holding on to the 7-0 lead over the Raiders. Oakland Raiders come in last in the NFL in scoring, averaging 12.6 points per game. Last in the NFL in passing yards and completion percentage and passer rating. They have an opportunity here. Russell throwing in stride. He's got Zach Miller. It'll be 1st and goal at the 5 for the Raiders, working against the safety Ronaldo Hill.
I firmly believe if you provide protection from Jamarcus Russell, this is a laser right in the chest of Zach Miller. Arguably their best offensive weapon in terms of pass catching ability. A tremendous tight end, I think a star in the making. Between he and Jamarcus Russell, I think they can make for a really potent combination.
Double tight end set on a 1st and goal. Handoff to Fargas. He leaves his feet and picks up a 1.5 yards. Bonnie Holiday able to get him down low. Channing Crowder over there for the Dolphins. It's 10 carries, 16 yards right now for Fargas, and a 2nd and goal for the Raiders.
This is where this big offensive line for the Oakland Raiders has to be able to win out. You have 3 down linemen front in this 3-4 defense for the Dolphins. You outweigh them if you're the Raiders. You got to be able to move men and create a running lane for the Raiders.
Fake the handoff. Flag is down. Russell, and the play whistle dead. Penalty marker.
False start. Offense number 7. 87. 77. I'm sorry. Number 77. 5-yard penalty at 2nd down.
Now it couldn't have been 97. So there are only a select number of choices.
It's Quaim Harris, and he has been struggling. And I said they have to create movement. I meant after the snap.
Yeah, that would help.
Yes. And Quaim Harris, and Tom Capel talked about it today, he's been struggling with his confidence. You know, he had an injury earlier in the year, took some time off, and since then there's been a setback. And so he's one of those guys that's struggling to find some consistency.
Play clock is winding down. 2nd and goal on a pitch. McFadden. And McFadden is drilled by Matt Roth. For a moment, you thought McFadden might throw it like he did back in Arkansas.
Well, no one was open. I thought he might throw it, considering the arc that he took, but there was no one open down the field. Now watch the arc. But see, is there anyone open down there? So he's thinking, he gets up and he's upset. There's no one to throw it to. Someone didn't get the play call. And it's the lack of execution by the Oakland Raiders that really caused them to shoot themselves in the foot.
And the obvious frustration as McFadden spiked the ball after the play. Clearly, that was the initial design. And they weren't on the same page. 2-minute warning here in the second quarter. The Raiders finally have a chance to put some points on the board, but not executing in the red zone. straight quarters without a touchdown for the Raiders. 36 points in the first half. That's the lowest total in the NFL. And Oakland facing a 3rd and goal with 2 minutes to play in this first half. And backed up just inside the 15-yard line. Russell sat out a series with an injured right ankle. Now they'll shift to a shotgun formation. Empty backfield. Spread it out on 3rd and goal. And again, Quaim Harris.
Wow.
Number 77 on that left
False
side.
start. Offense, number 77.
He's struggling.
5-yard penalty.
We've seen Mario Henderson play at times for him. Tom Capel said, we're going to try to help him. We're going to try to help him by running the ball, allowing him to be aggressive, and then we're also going to help him by allowing other players to play at that position and create some competition for Quaim Harris.
7 penalties called against Oakland in the first half. Quaim Harris signed as a free agent from the 49ers. He was a first-round pick out of Stanford back in 2003. It was 1st and goal from the 5. It's 3rd and goal from the 20. Russell throwing in a tight window to Zach Miller, but he's going to come up short of the goal line.
Boy, they have something special brewing between Jamarcus Russell and Zach Miller. They're part of that 2007 draft class. And you can tell that the time they're putting in is starting to yield good dividends. This is a strike from Jamarcus Russell. A very tight window, as you said. He's able to make that catch and get up and almost took it in for a touchdown. It appears as though the Raiders are going to go for it.
Tom Cable told Jamarcus Russell go back onto the field. And Cable then wanted to chat with Ed Hockley. It's 4th and goal. The ball spotted at the 3-yard line. Now they'll use a timeout.
Timeout Oakland with 1 second left on the play clock. That's their second. It's a 30-second timeout.
So now they'll make the decision as to what they're going to do on 4th down. They're only down 7-0. You would think get the guaranteed points, because asking your team to execute, which they have not been able to do on the offensive end, has been quite a chore. Need help getting through that midseason slump? Watch Fantasy Football Today live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern only on CBSSports.com.
I'll keep an eye on that left tackle, Quaim Harris. They're going to go for it. I mean, offensive line has to execute, and you have to be able to hold your water. Remember, this is an offensive line that's allowed an average of 3 sacks per game. Over the last few weeks, guys like John Abraham has had big weeks. Terrell Suggs last week. Julius Peppers had 3 sacks. And so he's got to be able to hold his water. Yes, Joey Porter's looking to have a big day, and I think right now he's getting into the head of Quaim Harris.
So here we go. Raiders making the decision, and now they will send Janikowski onto the field. So Tom Cable uses that timeout, some deeper discussion, and Janikowski will come out for the chippy. 21-yard field goal attempt to get Oakland on the board. Had a long of 57. He's the all-time leading scorer in Raiders history. Set that mark topping George Blanda last week from 21 yards away, and Janikowski bangs it through. Miami with a 7-3 lead over Oakland with 1:09 to go in the first half. We'll come back to South Florida and wrap up the second quarter in a moment.
Built for power. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Available on the full-size Tundra, the truck that's changing it all.
There is a company that is like no other company in the world. CEOs got started here. Astronauts. And software engineers. You see, this company is filled with dreamers. But they also have courage, strength, honor. And when they leave this company, it will be with 1,000 opportunities and the respect of millions. There's strong, then there's Army Strong. To see strength like no other, go to GoArmy.com.
What happens when this genius gets the Mars rover stuck in a crater?
Try calling AAA. You have to be standing next to the vehicle with your card when they arrive.
New Big Bang Theory, CBS tomorrow. Investigator Patrick Jane sees things others don't, but he's not the only one.
I'm merely a channel for the departed souls.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
She has a rare and precious gift.
She is good, but it's the good ones that are the most dangerous.
It's the ultimate mind game.
Ever since your wife and daughter were killed, there's a question that's been tormenting you.
A new Mentalist, CBS Tuesday.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Red Lobster. Taste the difference wood grilling makes now at Red Lobster. And by Toyota. Moving forward.
Seven to 3, Miami leading Oakland. Remember, it was a 41-yard penalty that got the Raiders down the field. Janikowski a 21-yard field goal, pass interference call. And that gave the Raiders their first scoring opportunity of the day, but could not take full advantage of it inside the red zone as Janikowski kicks it off. Ted Ginn has a 40-yard touchdown run. Now an opportunity in the return game. Circling and out of bounds. Just short of the 20-yard line. That's where Chad Pennington and the Dolphins will take over. And a sunny South Florida edition of Wisdom of Solomon.
Well, why is the Wildcat such an effective NFL play? I think it utilizes the talents of multiple players, allows a lot of guys to get their hand on the football. Then it's highly unpredictable. You have run, pass, the option play, reverse pass, or throwback, and then it presents an unconventional read for the defense. It changes the way you prepare during the week. And Dan Henning, how about his willingness to be unconventional and maybe untraditional, allowing that Wildcat package to supplement his offense?
And he and Pennington have really clicked. As Pennington throws on first down, the quick out to Patrick Cobbs. And Cobbs is thrown down, but not out of bounds, short of the 30-yard line. So Miami will rush to the line of scrimmage. Jabril Wilson helped make sure that he didn't get to that sideline. 47 seconds left in this first half. 2nd and 1. Pennington handoff. Ronnie Brown's got the first down. Driving forward across the 30. Thomas Howard makes the stick. And it's a 2-yard gain. 37 seconds left and a timeout taken. We'll come back. Time report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher have the latest NFL scores and highlights. Week 11. That's all coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report. 7-3, Miami leading Oakland with 37 seconds left in this first half. Now, Tony Sperano really liked what he saw from Ricky Williams in practice last week. That's why he told Dan Henning to earmark some plays for him. So many different options, and now it's Ted Ginn. And the Raiders were ready for it. Kalimba Edwards following him. It's a 2-yard gain for Ginn. And now time trickling away in this second quarter.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if, after the Dolphins scored on that first possession, if we see more of that Wildcat package in the second.
And Pennington throwing under pressure. Catch made by Bess. And ball popped loose. And it was whistled down at the 50-yard line, but Dolphins aren't going to even come to the line of scrimmage. Miscommunication here. Chad Pennington was telling Hockley he wanted a timeout. Clock reads 000 right now.
There was a timeout called by Miami with 3 seconds remaining on the clock.
Now Chad is going to explain himself that I wanted the timeout right after the whistle was blown, bringing Best down, and that's the point that Tony Sperano's trying to make.
No, Chad certainly was signifying timeout and thought he had one as he started to jog over to talk with the coaches.
There was no sense of urgency, so the idea being that Pennington had already called the timeout in his mind.
Take a look at the throw, the clock. Watching he's down.
He's down with
11 seconds, and now he's calling the timeout. So 3 seconds, I think they probably are deserving more, and that's what Tony Sperano is arguing.
11 seconds, if it is, you're talking about one play to the sideline, ducking out of bounds, and maybe having a shot at a field goal. Now in a 3-second situation,
it's a Hail Mary opportunity, and that's it.
That's all you got. So just that one small play changes the approach entirely. 3 seconds left for the Dolphins in this first half, and they'll go conservative. Ronnie Brown, chunks of yardage for Brown. And that'll be the final play of this first half as he's brought down at the 30. 18-yard pickup. Miami with a 7-3 lead at halftime over the Oakland Raiders. Dolphins looking to extend their winning streak to 4.
stop the Raiders from running the ball, only allowing 24 rush yards from those 3 running backs for the Oakland Raiders. That's what's allowed them to at least control the game on defense. Now they've got to make some plays in the second half. I expect to maybe see that wildcat package from the Dolphins.
Well, remember, Miami had won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so Sebastian Janikowski's kicking it off to Ted Ginn on a couple of bounces. Ginn bounces off a would-be tackler and bounced backwards as they will spot the football just outside the 20. John Alston over there to help make the play. It's a 16-yard return. Chad Pennington in that first half, 8 of 9, 78 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The big play was the Ginn 40-yard rush for a score. Ronnie Brown goes for 57 yards on the ground. Cobbs had the 1 carry for 12 yards. Ricky Williams has not been a big part of the game plan. But right now on the Wildcat, it's going to be Ricky Williams on the direct snap. Williams looks for an opening, a spin move. And Williams trying to angle it. Thomas Howard stuck by Williams the whole time. Sam Williams missed initially. It's a 2-yard game for Ricky.
Yeah, Sam Williams, I thought, was really aggressive in terms of getting up the field. Watch him get into the backfield, 54. Now, you got to be able to make that tackle, but the speed of Thomas Howard, we've seen it all day long. I think if I'm a running back, I'm studying tape of this defense, and I see Thomas Howard. If I'm a runner, I'm trying to cut it back and get going north and south downhill. You can't get outside of him. He's just too fast.
Same formation, different personnel, though, with Ronnie Brown this time getting the direct snap, and Brown taking it up the middle. Carries to the 30-yard line for a 5-yard gain. It'll set up 3rd and about 3 for Miami. So the challenge now for Rob Ryan and his defensive unit to handle the creativity. And so far, so good for Oakland.
So far, so good, but you know something tricky comes off that play. They can catch you off balance. There's so many places they can go with the football.
Remember, this came from Arkansas, where David Lee, the current quarterbacks coach for Miami, was the offensive coordinator for the Razorbacks. And they started doing it after a Week 2 blowout loss to Arizona. Pennington on 3rd and short, floats one up and almost intercepted by Wilson. Ted Ginn, the intended target, and Miami opens up with a 3-and-out to start playing this second half. Kelly and Warren supplying the heat on Pennington.
I thought Ted Ginn could go for this ball. You've got to get a hand on this ball and prevent it from getting into the hands of Jabril Wilson. Had he caught it, would have had an interception and a big play for his defense.
Brandon Fields with the punt. Johnny Lee Higgins, well, he's got a lot of room in front of him from the 15. And takes the sideline route, walking the tightrope after the 56-yard punt and an 8-yard return. Jamarcus Russell and the Oakland offense trailing 7-3 when we come back. Raiders are 2-7 this season. Just one of their 7 losses is by single digits. That came to Buffalo. As Jamarcus Russell on first down, a strike to Tony Stewart, and Stewart able to carry tacklers with him for a gain of 10 and a first down. Jeremiah Bell in on that stop for Miami. First half possessions for the Oakland Raiders. 4 punts. The field goal they got, 41 of those 77 yards came on a pass interference penalty.
And they've now gone 11 consecutive quarters without scoring a touchdown. And the passing game has worked well for Tom Capel. The ball has gone to the tight ends.
From the 34, and Russell on the give. Going up the middle, not much there, as Jason Ferguson able to greet Justin Fargas after the gain of 1. Tomorrow on TV's #1 comedy, for the first time ever, Charlie has a sleepover date. A new 2.5 Men. That's tomorrow on CBS, America's most watched network. And Fargas will remain in there for Oakland. Raiders have dropped 4 of their last 5 games. The lone victory came in overtime at home against the Jets. It's a 2nd and 9, early stages, 3rd quarter. Russell is sacked. Vonnie Holiday. 2nd of the day for Holiday.
Holiday comes right up the middle. I mean, he does a wonderful job. The protection just didn't hold up. He tried to go elsewhere with the ball. Watch him come here and actually he comes from the other side. He's going to come this way, and then that's where he comes around, right up the middle, and gets the sack. Tremendous play by Vonnie Holliday, someone that Coach Sperano has pointed out as a guy who's made a huge difference on this defense.
We haven't called Joey Porter's name very often so far today, but they're getting pressure, consistent pressure on Oakland. 5 official sacks on the afternoon. Russell slings it out. Ronald Curry, and brought down quickly after he crossed the 35-yard line. It brings up 4th down for Oakland. Jason Allen there defensively to deal with Curry, the former North Carolina standout as wide receiver and on the basketball team. Tremendous athlete from Hampton, Virginia. So Shane Leckler averaging just under 51 yards per punt. He has a long of 57. And Devon Bess waiting for the kick at the 16 of Miami. Leckler. He's tremendous. This one's going to take a roll and makes a beeline towards the sideline at the 6. How many times can a punter win team MVP?
I think every year, particularly when they can't score touchdowns.
Hi. Miami Dolphins come in ranked 8th in the NFL in total offense, just over 350 yards per game. They're at 203 total. 10:35 mark of the 3rd quarter. Take over with a 1st and 10 at their own 6. Pennington in trouble. Pennington! It's a safety! Oh, the Raiders defense makes a big play with Jay Richardson slamming down Pennington. And a rare mistake from Chad. So Oakland chips away at the Miami lead.
Watch the pressure from every angle. Up the middle, off the corner. They seal the edge and come away with a safety.
Just saw me buy stock. No big deal. I mean, you know, if I can do it. Whoa.
It's so easy. There are 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
My name's Steven.
Interleague play here in South Florida. Marlins leading the A's 7-5. 10:28 to go on the 3rd. Brandon Fields will get a free kick after the safety, Jay Richardson. 2nd year from Ohio State. Johnny Lee Higgins is the deep man for Oakland, so they'll get the football after sacking Pennington in the end zone. And now they're ready to go with Fields on the free kick. Dolphins 7, Raiders 5, 10:28 to go on the 3rd. And Raiders should have good field position here. Johnny Lee Higgins from the 13 to the 30 and crosses the 35-yard line, extending his body to the 37. Jason Allen over there to touch him up. 25-yard return. Another look at the defensive play.
Yeah, watch how the pocket collapses on Pennington. He tried to spin out of it, but Richardson's able to close in too quickly. I don't think Pennington had even much time to get rid of the ball. You certainly don't want to just throw it up for grabs in that situation. I think better to take the safety than risk the turnover deep inside your own territory.
I'm with you. He made the right play, and that's not surprising knowing Chad Pennington, except the 2 points. And a throw and a catch. Russell to Miller. Clearly, he is Russell's favorite target. We talked to Zach Miller. I asked him about the comparisons to Todd Heap. You know, Zach grew up in Arizona. He said, I attended Arizona State games when Heap was there. I was a kid, and I always would focus on him. So I absolutely love the comparisons that are made to Todd Heap from Baltimore.
By far their best playmaker when you talk about catching the ball down the field.
Russell is 9 of 10, 87 yards. Here's Justin Fargas breaking one off to the 45-yard line. John Wade with a good block, working that left side. It's a 12-yard gain for Fargas.
Miami Dolphins, the defense today has been stellar. Only gave up 24 yards rushing to this Raider team in the first half. See them making plays on the back end in pass coverage. Pressure leads to picks. They're gotten after Jamarcus Russell so far today, getting to the quarterback, sacking him 5 times already in the game.
On first down in Miami territory at the 45-yard line. Draw play for Fargas. Fargas makes his move, and Fargas Fargas across the 40-yard line. Robert Gallery with a good block and a 6-yard gain for the former USC standout.
Justin Fargas had over 170 yards rushing against this Miami Dolphins defense 1 year ago. I think as a team put up 299 rush yards. So the one thing that concerned the Dolphins the most, Coach Tony Sparano, was the Raiders' ability to run the football.
In this quarter, Oakland 37 yards and a chance to take the lead here against the Miami Dolphins. 8.5 to play in the third. Fake the handoff. Russell. Pressure. And it's incomplete. Threw it in the direction of Luke Lawton. Will Allen was over there hoping to come up with a pick. And coming up Thursday on CSI, the miniature killer is back in an all-new episode of TV's #1 show, CSI, Thursday on CBS, America's most watched network.
Big third down play for the Oakland Raiders. Thought they had excellent field position. You get sense they have an opportunity to gain some momentum. I think it starts with the play of the offensive line, and if you're Jamarcus Russell, you got to be dead on with this throw.
Miller, the motion man. On 3rd and 4, Russell looking, swings it to the outside. Tony Stewart, good move upfield. And a new set of downs for Oakland to work with out across the 35-yard line.
You talk about being on the money with the throw, the quick pass, and the velocity in which Jamarcus Russell delivers the ball. It allows Tony Stewart to make a move after making the catch, because there's separation between he and the defender. He's able to make Jeremiah Bell miss, cut underneath, and move the chains. That's why that pass has to be thrown very accurately and on time. Tom Capel offense is now on the move.
Line of scrimmage is now the 33. Give is to Fargas, and Fargas shredding up this Miami defense now, picking up chunks of yardage, and Fargas now adds to his total 40 yards on the day after a very quiet first half on the ground for Oakland.
And as the play caller, Tom Capel keeping it balanced. He said they would get back to running the football in 6 plays so far on this drive. 3 run, 3 passes, but I'm telling you, they're ripping it up on first down.
And now Darren McFadden will check in on a 2nd and 4. McFadden gets the call and runs into a crowd. Nothing there for McFadden. Driven backwards. Roth was in on the play. Vontae Holliday as well.
I think I would run somewhere else other than at Matt Roth. Boy, has he been good on this defense at setting the edge. You saw him there getting penetration. That one barely made it back to the line of scrimmage.
And now Roth will check out on 3rd down. On a 3rd and 4. Now to 6:40 to play in the third. McFadden goes in motion. Lawton is the lone setback. They try to set up McFadden in space. Nowhere to go. Andre Goodman covered him like a blanket. And the Raiders unable to convert.
I know it looks like an easy play, but in open field, in space against Darren McFadden, it is a very difficult play for Andre Goodman. Coach Sparano said it's one area where they've improved the most. Is in that secondary where they tend to play much more aggressive than they did in those first 2 games of the season, when we saw teams like the Cardinals just shred up this secondary.
45-yard field goal attempt for Sebastian Janikowski. A chance to give Oakland the lead. Janikowski, kick on the way, and kick, no good. It came off the post. The Oakland Raiders come up empty.
And the opportunity to seize the lead on the road for the Raiders slips right off the right upright. Janikowski cannot nail it home.
Coach! Powerful leg of Sebastian Janikowski. It was not enough. Needed a little bit more accuracy. Misses a makeable field goal for him. And Miami maintains the lead 7-5. Incomplete. Devon Bess was the intended receiver, with Kirk Morrison in the area for Oakland. Vote for your favorite players for the 2009 Pro Bowl today. NFL.com is the place to go. Then enter for a chance to win a trip to Hawaii to see the 2009 Pro Bowl. You can vote online or on your mobile phone only at NFL.com/Pro Bowl. And Wildcat is in play. It's Ronnie Brown. With Chad Pennington lined up as a receiver, Ricky Williams comes in motion, and Williams gets the call. Williams spinning his way for a modest gain on second down, just 3 yards. Nnamdi Asamoah there.
The Miami Dolphins have scored 23 touchdowns on offense. 8 of them have come from that Wildcat package. So it has been highly productive. David Lee, of course, when he was at Arkansas, he had a player by the name of Darren McFadden to operate in that offense. Probably the one guy who has inspired this offense the most.
And we've seen it now all over the league. We know it's a copycat league. Something works, others will try it. Cobbs goes in motion on a 3rd and 7 for Pennington. Unloads complete. Ted Ginn's got a first down into Oakland territory as he angles out at the 49. That's good for 12 yards for the Dolphins. Well, we can take you back. Arkansas last year. Break it down. Darren McFadden and the Razorback offense. Felix Jones involved as well.
Oh, here's a guy that has thrown for a number of touchdown passes, so he can throw it. Already was attempting one pass today. Didn't get a chance to get it off, but boy, when he tucks it and run it, he could take it to the house. You might say he's the ultimate weapon, inspired David Lee to bring it here to Miami.
He had 7 touchdowns through the air at Arkansas. Ronnie Brown, direct snap. Brown looking for the hole here. He's got one. Brown squeezing through. And a positive play on first down as he gains 8 yards on the Wildcat.
The Oakland Raiders came in thinking that, hey, we can defend this play. They practice against it every day when Darren McFadden is running it. And they said that, you know, Ronnie Brown, he doesn't have a lot of options. He's going to stick to the play. There's no read at the line of scrimmage. If the play called in the huddle is to give it to Ricky Williams, he's going to give it to Ricky. If it's designed for him to keep it, then he's going to do that.
Well, back to the conventional look on a 2nd and 2. Fasano is the motion man. Keep it on the ground. Ronnie Brown, look out. Ronnie Brown busting to the clear. And out of bounds. Camarillo and Fasano along that right side with key blocks to help spring him loose. And Brown picks up 19. It's first down for Miami. Let's get an NFL Today update with JB in New York.
All right, well, the Broncos have lost 3 of the last 4, trying to turn that around here as a running back, Peyton Hillis, 2-yard TD run, his 2nd of the day, capping an 11-play, 77-yard drive. Denver nursing a 1-point lead. Ian and Solomon.
Now, Peyton Hillis, a natural fullback, but because of injury, he's forced to play, and Shanahan is making something of it. Up the middle for Ricky Williams. And the Raiders converge on Ricky. You know, also in talking to Tom Cable, Solomon, he said, I'm familiar with the Wildcat. We did something like that in Atlanta with Michael Vick and Warwick Dunn. We called it Ponies Stack Series, but we just didn't do it in the same fashion as Miami. Now it's just exploded around the league.
And you go back to week 3. Remember that game against the Patriots when the Dolphins unleashed that Wildcat offense? They ran it 6 times. Scored 5 touchdowns on those 6 plays. So that's why the Miami Dolphins are more known for.
Yeah, that'll get some attention around the league and that kind of percentage. On second down, Pennington, soft toss over the middle. Ricky Williams. And Williams has a first down. Sam Williams, no relation, and Thomas Howard bring him down. It's an 11-yard gain. Another NFL Today update back to New York. Check in with JB.
Hey, Ian, tell Solly, take a look at this rookie, Steve Slayton. Burst of speed up the middle. The rest is history. 71 yards to pay dirt. Longest run from scrimmage in Texans history. 2016 Houston over Indy. Ian and Solly.
JB, Steve Slayton's just one of many rookie running backs providing a huge impact for their football team this year.
On first down, Pennington hit at the line of scrimmage. He was looking to connect with David Martin, and it was Jay Richardson who got a piece of it. 2nd and goal coming up for Miami.
You know, we talk about the Wildcat offense. I think it is significant that it forces the defense to prepare for it, that it really takes them out of their base defense. And I think we've seen it impact this drive here. We saw runs from Ronnie Brown in their base package where the Raiders defense had been playing it well. They're forced to defend the Wildcat. Then when they have to go back to playing their base defense, well, then they're out of position, and now they're giving up plays.
Personnel changes. Brown and Cobbs in the backfield on a 2nd and goal. Fasano goes in motion. Pennington faked the toss. Inside handoff. Cobbs explodes to the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. you don't know where it's going to come from.
You know, we talk about David Lee and the Wildcat offense. It's still Dan Henning, who's the offensive coordinator, pulling the strings for this offense. This is a beautifully designed play. It's an underneath handoff as they fake the toss to the outside. You hand it underneath to Patrick Cobb. They just come right downhill and just blow a huge hole in the middle of that Oakland Raiders defense for a touchdown.
Second carry of the day for Cobbs. We saw him have a huge day against the Houston Texans earlier this season. Dan Carpenter, the extra point. It's a 9-play, 64-yard drive. Cobbs takes it for Pater. Of today's action being provided by our friends over at DirecTV. Beautiful pictures here in South Florida. Patrick Cobbs, the 10-yard touchdown run, his first rushing touchdown of the season. Cobbs with a pair of receiving touchdowns, including an 80-yarder against Houston. Justin Miller, the return man. And Miller takes it to the 25-yard line. 15-yard return for the former Jet. And we're going to give you that bird's eye view of the touchdown.
They get the defense going one way by faking the toss here, but then they hand it to Patrick Cobb going against the flow of the defense right there. And so whenever you go against that flow, you're going to get a seam, and then they pop it real quick as they pull the backside guard. It gets Cobb to the second level. He powers it in from there. So they started off with the Wildcat, but finish it off with your traditional offense. And boy, it's just a wonderful way to keep the defense off balance.
Fargas and McFadden in the backfield as McFadden shifts out of it to the outside. Russell now with his team down 14-5. Deep ball. Up in the air and incomplete. Ronald Curry, the intended target. Johnny Lee Higgins was also in the area.
Remember when we talked to Tony Sperano, we talked about, hey, what about your coverage team? He said, I wish I could play with 14 guys, but watch Patrick Cobbs. He's a guy that does the dirty work. Just scored a touchdown. And look at this. The guy running down on kickoff doing the dirty work again. I think I'd call more plays for him if I'm Dan Henning.
Well, then he's going to enjoy his Wednesdays when he opens up that playbook and he sees the name Cobbs next to a bunch of Dan Henning designs. Fargas is buried. Kendall Langford. Langford is quietly having an excellent season, as Vonnie Holliday has probably gotten a little more attention on that defensive line. Ferguson has been a stabilizing force up the middle, but Langford, rookie out of Hampton, third-round pick. They have high hopes for this small school product.
Anytime you run a 3-4 defense, it's those 3 down linemen, Langford, Ferguson, Holliday that you mentioned. You don't have stellar players and your 3 up-front guys, and you can't run that defense. And all 3 right now are playing very well.
3rd and 11. Rush coming. Russell throws too high. Over the head of Zach Miller and over the head of Ronaldo Hill, who was back there defensively for Miami. The Raiders will punt with 59 seconds to play in the 3rd.
You got to start now having other players to make some plays in the passing game for the Raiders. Right now, every Miami Dolphin defensive player, they're going in the direction of Zach Miller, almost knowing that the ball is going to him. So you have to now start to diversify and spread the ball around a bit.
Guillen is the deep man. Bess is standing about 14 yards in front of him. Shane Leckler, he could punt it a country mile. Sailing kick, and Guillen from the 20. Guillen to the outside. And forced out of bounds with 47 seconds to play in the 3rd. Marquise Cooper among those chasing down Guillen. Everybody wants to hear what the president-elect has to say, and there's only one place to hear it, right here on CBS. 60 Minutes, Barack Obama's first interview. That's coming up tonight on CBS. So the Miami Dolphins, 5-4, riding a 3-game winning streak. They are armed with the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL and a chance to improve to 6-4 with a win over Oakland today. They lead it 14-5. We are under a minute to go in the 3rd. Ricky Williams, direct snap to him. Williams trying to push the pile. He's got room. And Williams securing the football. He's got a first down. Out across the 45-yard line. That's a 12-yard gain for Williams.
Tony Sparano said Ricky Williams is beginning to run fresh and faster than we've seen all season. The way he finished off runs, and you see there, yards after contact with a great body length is what has impressed his head coach, and that's why the head coach has told the offensive coordinator, let's put more plays in for Ricky Williams.
And Miami will let the clock run out at the end of the third quarter with a 14-5 advantage. 1 quarter of play left at Dolphins Stadium. We'll come back with the full. Built on its lead at home, 14-5 over the Oakland Raiders. Ian Eagle, Solomon Wilcots, the rest of our CBS crew. And the Dolphins' first play of this fourth quarter out near midfield. Handoff. Pennington to Williams. And Ricky Williams zigzags his way for another strong run. Solomon, you talk about Tony Sparano noticing how Williams is finishing his runs. It's like they've got a fresh running back in there right now in the fourth quarter. Didn't see a whole lot of Ricky in the first half.
No, we saw a lot of Ronnie Brown, and then we saw Patrick Cobbs on the last possession, and now Ricky Williams is getting it going. So I think anytime you have 3 running backs with that kind of ability, boy, it really does allow the offense to hum along. Right now, they're on the move.
And Wildcat formation right now with Ronnie Brown. First down, Brown will do it himself. Takes it inside for a gain of 4. For NCIS, no mission is impossible, but this Tuesday a traitor will compromise the whole agency. Don't miss a new episode of Tuesday's #1 show on America's most watched network. Now, believe it or not, time of possession right now is actually very close. And the reason you bring it up is because Miami this year, when they win the time of possession, they're undefeated. They're 5-0. Wildcat again, going to it more extensively in the second half. Ronnie Brown, does he have the blocking in front of him? He does not. He's driven down by Thomas Howard, who's having a whale of a game defensively for Oakland.
Thomas Howard is sniffing out the ball carrier. He's able to get off blocks. Not a real big guy, but boy, his speed and athleticism allows him to beat the offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins and get to the ball carrier. He can dig them out and get them to the ground.
So Rob Ryan's defense has performed well against the Wildcat. They got hit on a bit of a gadget play with Ted Ginn on an end around for 40 yards. And then Cobbs, an inside handoff, busting through for a 10-yard touchdown. Those are all the points Miami has put up today. They lead 14-5. We're just underway in the fourth. And Chad Pennington will use a timeout as the play clock had hit 1. We step aside. Miami hoping to add to their point total here in the fourth quarter. Dolphins 14, Raiders 5. Rob Ryan's defense trying to come up with another play to keep the Raiders in this game. It's 3rd and 5 at the 35. You talked about Tony Sparano telling his team, hey, don't eat the cheese. Don't get overconfident. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't eat the cheese, then wash it down with Kool-Aid, whatever. Don't buy into all the headlines. Nobody cared about this team 3 weeks ago. That was Sparano. His message to his team this week. Tommy Kelly stops Ricky Williams on a 3rd down play. And he wanted to make sure that the Dolphins recognized, don't change your attitude just because some people around the NFL start buzzing about the Dolphins.
And you know, I thought that 3rd down play was a rather conservative play call on the draw and not really attempting to get the ball down the field and move the chains and maintain possession.
Now the Dolphins in a bit of no man's land here. They could have attempted a 52-yard field goal. Instead, Brandon Fields will try to pin the Raiders back. And a fair catch called for inside the 10 by Johnny Lee Higgins. It's a 26-yard punt, but an effective one. The Raiders have a long way to go to get back in this one.
On car insurance.
Raiders take over 1st and 10 at their own 8-yard line. Handoff to Justin Fargas through the middle for a 2.5-yard gain. Aiken Adell makes the stop for the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders offense has been anemic. Tom Cable is calling the plays, but it's 170 straight plays without an offensive touchdown, and now 12 consecutive quarters without an offensive touchdown.
So no matter who's calling the plays on offense, it does come down to execution. I think the offensive line has to be a huge part of it, and they got to avoid the penalty so that when they do make a play, it holds up.
Russell throwing to the sideline, and Curry can't haul it in. Wow. Well, the Raiders actually averaged 19.5 points per game their first 4 games. Over the last 5, they've averaged 7 points per game. They are under that number today with 5 on the board.
Now, there was an opportunity to make a play. I mean, that was a good play call by Tom Capel. And what is a good play call? Putting your players in a position where they can make a play. Al Davis trying to figure out a way to give this team a chance to win games. I thought you had the protection for the quarterback, you had the receiver open, but yet it's an incomplete pass.
3rd and 8. Here comes the rush. Russell gets rid of it. And a hard throw out across the 25. Tough catch made by Curry. And a first down for the Raiders.
Now, I thought Curry could have made the other catch. He jumped. Had he just stayed on the ground and ran through the route, he would have made the catch. This one is put right on his chest. I mean, we are seeing some really accurate throws from Jamarcus Russell, putting the ball right on the receiver, and you've got to be able to make a play. Curry, that time going over the middle, was able to make the grab.
And tight coverage there from Tyrone Culver, the former Packer, signed as a free agent by Miami. Fargas on the give, emerges out of the pile and rumbles out across the 40-yard line. Ronaldo Hill got him down low. That's a 15-yard gain for Justin Fargas. 57 yards on the ground in total for Fargas.
And what a play by Jamarcus Russell. He's a big quarterback. 6'6". The offensive lineman had stepped on his foot. He stumbled coming out from under center, regained his balance, and was able to still get that ball in the belly of Jamarcus, or I should say of Justin Fargas, who made an excellent run.
I remember we met with Dante Culpepper a few years ago when he was with Minnesota, and I thought when he came to the meeting room, I'd never see a bigger man playing quarterback than him. I have now with Russell, who slings it out to Zach Miller. And the chemistry between those two is obvious. 18 yards, and the Raiders are on the move at the 40-yard line of Miami. NFL Today update. Let's go to JB in New York.
Ian and Solly back and forth, Houston and Indiana. Colts get back on top. Joseph Adai, second touchdown of the day. That a 7-yarder capping a 7-play, 80-yard drive. A combined 3 touchdowns in 4 minutes and 54 seconds in that one. Ian and Solly.
You know, through the years, obviously Indianapolis has dominated that series. They've played some interesting games, those two teams. On first down, Russell in the pocket, flushed out. Russell on the move, throws, and finds Curry in stride. Another Oakland first down. And by far the best drive we've seen from this Oakland offense all day.
And the best play we've seen from the offensive line. Watch the protection, even though it breaks down backside. Russell feels the pressure, move to his right, and then Curry actually makes the catch. So he's having his best game of the year so far.
5 catches, 59 yards for Curry. Russell is 14 of 19, 142 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. McFadden in the backfield. On first down from the 24 of Miami. Russell standing in the pocket and deflected. Oh, they converged on Zach Miller. Channing Crowder making the play defensively. But they know where Zach Miller is. They're paying attention.
Yeah, they are paying attention. I think you may have to be careful going to the well once too often. Look how many white jerseys. 3 in the vicinity of Zach Miller. And that ball, I think, could have been intercepted. Tips and overthrows you're taught in the secondary. You've got to be able to come away with those and turn them into interceptions.
2nd and 10 from the Dolphins 24. Back to the ground game. And McFadden trying to break free. It's a 5-yard gain. He could not get away from Joey Porter, who did make the play down low on Darren McFadden.
Porter did a good job of working himself back on that play, got up the field, and then peeled back and was able to track down Darren McFadden. Right now, this Raiders offense is on the move. Good balance, good play calling, more importantly, good execution by Tom Capel's offensive line.
And a critical 3rd down play here for Oakland. Fans come to their feet in South Florida. Russell taking the snap in the shadows. Russell standing in the pocket. That incomplete. It bounced off of Channing Crowder as he turned defensively.
Sometimes you got to get lucky and play it past the fence, because Crowder doesn't look back for the ball, but he gets in the way. And it hit him in a place where I don't think he could catch it.
That's good analysis right there. That would be talent if he could. From the backside. Intended receiver Chaz Schillings. 37-yard attempt. Janikowski. And he nails it. So Oakland has made this a one-possession game with 8:02 left in the fourth. 14-8. Miami in front of the Raiders. Back in Miami, want to welcome our friends watching today in Chico, California. CBS affiliate KHSL. It's the Dolphins and the Raiders. 29th all-time, meaning Raiders lead the series with a mark of 16-11-1. Oakland just took it down the field, got a field goal from Janikowski, and it's 14-8. Dolphins. Again, the return man. 8 minutes to play. Again, slowed down as he was able to stumble to the 15-yard line. How big a game is this for Miami? At 5-4, a win would move them to 6-4, and a second-place tie with the New England Patriots. Wild card spots currently belong to Baltimore and New England, and I can guarantee you one thing: there will be a whole lot of changes before this season is up.
Absolutely. You know, you talk about Miami being in the hunt for a playoff spot after a 1-15 record 1 year ago. It's just remarkable what they've been able to do here in South Florida.
Had the #1 overall pick, management changes, coaching change, and now on first down, Pennington darts one to Devon Bess.
Now, Bess is so talented in terms of the run after the catch. He tried to run before the catch. Got to make sure you secure the football.
So Bess had an opportunity to pick up yardage on that first down throw. And now Patrick Cobbs will check in. On 2nd and 10, clock stops with 7:52 to play in the fourth. Miami holding on to a 6-point lead on Oakland. From the 15-yard line. On a handoff for Cobbs, and he picks up only a yard. Thomas Howard, Jabril Wilson there to make the play defensively. We've seen all the running backs getting involved here today.
Yeah, we told you at the beginning of the game that you would see all three. Ronnie Brown, we know he can make big plays for you. And how about the power and the strong running ability of Ricky Williams? And then Patrick Cobbs. He's been the surprise spark that this offense has needed. I think he's inspired a lot of people. But look at the combination in terms of the contribution from all three running backs really have fueled the offense today.
Last possession, Miami went conservative on third down. Let's see what they do here on 3rd and 9. Pennington looked out. He felt the pressure, out of the pocket, throwing on the move, tipped in the air, and caught! Oh, what a catch!
And guess who?
Greg Camarillo.
He is the guy that I'm telling you, every time you turn around, he's doing something special. And what about the presence in the pocket by Pennington? He's nearly sacked here. Now this ball's going to be tipped, and at this point I'm thinking someone's going to come down with it. Just a matter of who. Mr. Do Everything, Greg Camarillo.
Well, Camarillo having the best season of his career, 48th catch of the year. He had their game-winning touchdown last season in their only victory over Baltimore. And it's Ricky Williams in the Wildcat. And nothing there. Give him a gain of a yard, yard and a half. 6.5 to go here in the fourth. What that catch meant, not only a first down, but more clock for Miami.
And if you're the Raiders, you got to be disappointed because you feel like you did all the right things, nearly forcing a 3 and out, putting pressure on Chad Pennington. He's able to stay alive. You almost bat down that ball, but it ends up in the hands of Greg Camarillo. He leads the team with 48 receptions so far this year.
Camarillo out of Stanford. His father, Al, is a history professor at Stanford. On a 2nd and 8. Pennington on a give. Ricky Williams turning the corner and puts his head down brings it to the 44-yard line. Gain of 5. Kalimba Edwards helps make the stop for Oakland.
You remember the days when Ricky Williams led the league in rushing and was the leading rusher for this football team. He was a much bigger, stronger presence, and after taking a couple of seasons off, Tony Sperano says he's starting to regain form.
He had 1,853 yards rushing in 2002, 16 touchdowns. Wow. That's dominant. 3rd and 3. And Miami converted again. Pennington, short drop, and lunging grab made. Patrick Cobbs hauling it in, but short of a first down by about 1.5 yards.
Give Chris Johnson some credit. We saw that speed. He's the fastest player on this football team. He replaces D'Angelo Hawes, the starting cornerback, opposite of Nnamdi Asomugha. He's able to close in quickly to make the tackle on Cobbs.
So the door is open here for Oakland. Brandon Fields the punt. Johnny Lee Higgins will return it from the 7. Higgins has room, has the punter to beat. Johnny Lee Higgins busting it to the outside. And he's got the speed. Oakland Raiders with a chance to go in front. 93 yards. Oh, what a turn here in Miami.
When I asked Tony Sperano, what are you going to do to fix your coverage teams? He says, hopefully I can play with 14 guys in coverage. Well, we know you can't do that. He has to cover the punt with 11, and it's not good enough. As Johnny Lee Higgins takes this one deep inside his own territory, he only has the punter to beat, and for someone with the speed that Higgins possesses, well, it's not even close. He's walking in, no flags down on the play. Touchdown, Raiders.
2nd year out of Texas, El Paso. Johnny Lee Higgins, his long return this season with 35 yards. And Janikowski has given Oakland a 15-14 lead. First career touchdown for Johnny Lee Higgins in the return game. The Oakland Raiders lead Miami 15-14. Fans here at Dolphin Stadium are stunned after the 93-yard punt return for a touchdown. Johnny Lee Higgins. Raiders have not shown that they can score an offensive touchdown, but they just put one up on the board on special teams, and they've got a 15-14 lead over Miami. Janikowski has kicked it out of the end zone, and the Dolphins will take over at the 20-yard line.
Punt coverage has been a problem for the Dolphins all season long, and again, a gaping hole through their coverage unit as the Oakland Raiders, Johnny Lee Higgins takes this punt in for a score. It was the spark they needed, and one might ask now, we saw the Dolphins go rather conservative on a couple of 3rd down plays earlier in this quarter. I think when you put your foot on the pedal, you got to keep it mashed all the way to the floor.
Well, I think that's a big part of the storyline here. Miami clearly not respecting the Oakland offense and thinking, hey, we can win this game on field position and a comfortable lead. Pennington throwing. Now they'll open it up. Greg Camarillo out across the 30-yard line. It's a first down for Miami. Plenty of time on the clock. 4:18 and counting left in this 4th quarter.
And when they do make the aggressive play calls going right into the teeth of this defense, excellent throw from Chad Pennington. Camarillo, tough, gritty player who's willing to go inside, do the dirty work, and take the hit.
And the Dolphins going no huddle here on a 1st and 10 at the 33. Pennington throws and complete to Devon Bess. And very quickly, they have moved it into Oakland territory as Bess carries Chris Johnson with him. It's a 27-yard hookup, 9 yards after the catch.
These are the kind of plays we wanted to see called on those 2 previous possessions from Dan Henne. We thought they did go a little bit easy, particularly on 3rd down. We saw a draw play and then a little flip-out pass over to Patrick Cobbs on the previous 3rd down play. Look at this, 9 games winning drives in the 4th quarter. And they've had winning drives over the last 3 weeks during this 3-game win streak.
Tony Sperano told us these guys believe in Chad Pennington in the 4th quarter. There is just no doubt in any of our players' minds because of his leadership. And Ronnie Brown gets the carry. So back-to-back pass plays set up the Dolphins in Oakland territory. And Brown picks up a yard and a half. Kirk Morrison in on that stop.
When we talked to Chad Pennington about the reason why he meets with his offensive line and we meet with the wide receivers, he says it's all about the work ethic. He said, I think that it translates well on Sundays. We have a fourth quarter mentality. We put together long drives, and at the right time, we're able to execute. I think this would be one of those times.
2nd and 9. Pennington also added, hey, we've told our defense, it's on us. We'll get it done. Pennington flip, nobody home. And Fasano might have been screened off. Gerard Warren was back there in coverage against the tight end. And it sets up 3rd and 9 now for Miami. 2.5 to play.
Now watch Warren. He starts off at the line of scrimmage, but see, he drops into coverage. And that's Pennington saying, hey, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be rushing the quarterback. Number 61, Warren, instead of rushing the quarterback, he drops into coverage and took that pass away from the Dolphins offense.
Huge play right now on a 3rd and 9 for the Dolphins from the Oakland 39. Pennington throws slant, and Devon Bess catches it cleanly, but well short of a first down. He's brought down at the 35. And what do the Dolphins do here? It's 4th down.
Looks like they're going Wildcat. See Ronnie Brown's coming into the game.
It's 4th and 5. They're looking at a 53-yard field goal attempt as Pennington heads to the sideline. We're going to hit the 2-minute warning, so the Dolphins will have a chance to talk about it. Pivotal 4th down play when we come back. Decision time for Tony Sperano. He elects not to send Dan Carpenter onto the field. Carpenter's long is 47, the rookie out of Montana. This would have been a 53-yard attempt. Instead, Dolphins go for it on 4th and 5, trailing Oakland 15-14, 2 minutes to play. Pennington, shotgun formation for Miami. In the pocket, throws, got a first down. Ted Ginn, they'll move the chains. They needed 5, they picked up 7, and Pennington was on the money.
Very good play by the Miami Dolphins. We asked Chad Pennington, you know, do you stay away from Nnamdi Asomugha, who's only had 11 passes thrown this way all season, as we watched Ted Ginn Jr. pick up the first down. You know, and he looked at us and said, well, you better be careful. he wasn't going to tell us that he'd stay away from Nnamdi, which he hasn't thrown his way all game, but he certainly understood that it's a dangerous proposition to go to his side of the field. So all the other balls are going clearly to the other side, away from Nnamdi Asomugha when they need a play.
1:41 left. Oakland has used one of its timeouts. They've got 2 remaining. Miami has 2 left. And Chad Pennington animated in that Miami huddle.
You think they're paying attention?
I think so.
Absolutely. They respect Chad Pennington.
It's like a coach on the field. He brings that kind of presence with him.
He's a brilliant player, and it does rub off, I think, on his teammates.
First down for the Dolphins. And off to Ronnie Brown, trying to drive forward, and Brown will pick up a couple of yards on first down. Jay Richardson helping to make that stop for Oakland, and a timeout taken with 1:33 left. We'll come back with a finish after this. Dan Carpenter in his first year in the NFL from Montana holds the school record there for field goals and points. He was also a punter in college. He's waiting for his chance here to try to give Miami the lead on a 2nd and 8. Give is to Ronnie Brown. Taking it to the edge, and Brown stumbling forward for a gain of 4.5, 5 yards. Oakland using its timeouts, trying to conserve as much time as possible on the clock, anticipating that the Dolphins will have a field goal attempt, and if they make it, at the very least, they'll have a little bit of time to work with when they get the football back.
And if you're the Dolphins, if you're Dan Henney, the offense coordinator, I think the calls that you're making right now depends on how much do you trust a rookie kicker in this situation. Are you setting up the field goal, or are you really attempting to get the ball into the end zone to secure the victory? Are you willing to put the game in the hands of your rookie kicker?
Pennington comes back to the huddle with 1:27 left in the 4th. Dolphins with a 3-game winning streak. Wins over Buffalo, at Denver, Seattle last week, trying to make it 4 in a row. This is a 3rd and 3 for the Dolphins. Williams, the tailback, he'll get the call. Williams out across the 20-yard line, couldn't get to that first down marker, and Jay Richardson helped make sure of it.
He's going to be shy. I do believe they tried to power one right up the middle. Had the fullback in, tried to give it to their strongest runner. So now the game will rest in the hands of Carpenter.
Oakland has no timeouts remaining. Under a minute left, and Miami will use a timeout as they let the play clock go all the way down to 1. So trying to milk it as much as they can. In a way, they're almost icing their own kicker. But Dan Carpenter has enough to think about as Pennington uses the timeout.
Well, we've seen Capel call a timeout just before the kick. He's already done that in terms of trying to ice the kicker. Many coaches have done it.
Well, Oakland doesn't have any, so Carpenter doesn't have to worry about it. He's going to come out onto the field, and it's going to be lined up for him 37, 38 yards in that range, depending upon where his holder Brandon Fields steps up, with John Denny snapping it. The Miami Dolphins trailing the Oakland Raiders 15-14 after a 93-yard punt return for a touchdown from Johnny Lee Higgins to give Oakland its first lead of the day. What's on the line here for Miami? A tie for second place in the AFC East with the New England Patriots after the Jets beat the Pats on Thursday.
And a chance to stay one game behind the New York Jets and stay in the rest, in the thick of the race for this division title.
38-yard attempt to give Miami the lead. Rookie kicker from Montana, Dan Carpenter. Kick on the way, and he nails it. Dolphins in front, 17-15, with 38 seconds left.
They put him in good field position, even on the third down play, a run right up the middle. Trying to position the ball right between the hash marks for the rookie. Doesn't get any easier than this. And he comes through for his football team.
And now the pendulum swings over to the Oakland sideline. And quarterback Jamarcus Russell, Tom Cable's team, will have 38 seconds to work with. A field goal from Janikowski will give them the win on the road. Chad Pennington did his job. Completions to Camarillo and to Bess and to Ginn in this fourth quarter.
We said from the beginning, what do the Dolphins want to do? Start fast and finish strong. Their ability to make plays in the fourth quarter has been the hallmark of what is now a 3-game winning streak, and now they're looking to make it 4 in a row.
Well, the question now for Miami, you just got burned with your coverage unit. What are you going to do on this kickoff with the recently signed Justin Miller deep?
And Miller's a strong kick return guy. He can break tackles. Not only fast to the hole, but if you're going to tackle him, you better be a strong tackler if you're going to get him on the ground.
Dan Carpenter will kick it off. Miller is standing at his own 7-yard line. Miami nursing a 2-point lead. They'll go for the shorter kick. And Miller has to take it on a couple of bounces. And he's trounced. Back at the 20, Patrick Cobbs.
Well, he's the special teams captain. And when we talked to him yesterday, he says, I have to make plays.
The playoff picture in the AFC. Miami very much in the hunt at 5-4, and a win would move them to 6-4 in a tie with New England in the AFC East. Pennington urging the crowd to get into it for the final 35 seconds. Jamarcus Russell in his second year. Didn't play last week because of an injured knee. Injured his ankle earlier today. Russell is sacked at the 14. Joey Porter finally gets on the board. 6th Miami sack of the day, and time is trickling away. Raiders can't stop the clock, no timeouts left, and they're not moving with a sense of urgency. 15 seconds left. Russell out of the gun. Russell steps, has a big arm, will throw it underneath to Ronald Curry, makes his move, and that's going to do it. 2 seconds, 1 second, it's over. Miami has come back. Pivotal win for the Dolphins at home. 17-15, Miami defeats the Oakland Raiders. Pennington.